What's up, everyone? This is Grayson the Dean 221 Nichols here on the Elite Rounders YouTube channel, as always, with the newest episode of High Stakes Poker running on Poker Go every Wednesday night. So I'm just getting settled in my new house. As you can see, I got the blank wall behind me, so hopefully we'll have some decorations for next week's video, maybe outside on the new patio as well. But I just had to get this one going, even with the hotspot on my phone. I got the internet guy on his way. This hand was so wild. I had to come on here, do a video, talk about it with you all. Um, you know, it's pretty cool. This was all over Twitter too. Like, I'm just gonna say it. This is the greatest fold I think I've ever seen in poker between two of the most dynamic personalities we've ever seen in the game. So yeah, this hand's wild. I'm just gonna jump right into it. For those who have not been watching recently, again, this is the high stakes poker. They changed it to 200, 400 this week as opposed to 400, 800. And there's no straddle at the moment. Looks like Durer is still here. Ivy just left. We are sitting with Poker Pro John Andres, well-known Poker Pro Doug Polk and blogger, well-known whatever Poker Brat Phil Hellmuth want to call him, and James Board. So the table again has got some good action, but let's hop into this hand between Doug Polk and Phil Hellmuth. All right, so the action's 200, 400. And a little context, this guy Board was steaming. He was just like completely playing like a crazy person. He was so tilted from just losing with a set. So that's just a little background. Hellmuth opens the Queen 10 offsuit, which seems fine here as maybe the worst hand he'd open, which is actually surprising because Phil's been insanely tight. Like the first hand he played all episode, and he decides to open here. So Doug defends in the big blind, 10-7 off, which seems fine as bottom of range as well. And we get the flop of all flops here. So the flop comes the stone nuts for Phil, Jack 9-8, and Doug flops the second nuts. Doug checks. Phil tries to get cagey and check to Board, who is tilting, who obliges and bets 2,000. Doug quickly raises to 7,000. And then Hellmuth, with maybe 5 to 10 seconds of deliberation, does the old Hellmuth snapshot, as we've all seen. Insert clip from his classical WPT hand. And he moves all in. Board, of course, folds with the deuces. And the action's back to Doug, who immediately smiles. And he's like, how much is it? I'm pretty sure I'm going to call, but how much is it? And, against most people, this is a snap call, right? But, Phil is so tight. He is just so tight. He only has the nuts ever, right? And so Doug starts thinking about it. And then the more and more he thinks about it, you can see the people at the table are making side bets on what he has, right? And eventually flips over his hand. And he goes, you know what? I'm thinking about folding this right now. And Doug is sitting there with the second nuts, only losing to Queen 10. And he says to Phil, this is where it gets really interesting, and I think this might have been what switched the thing for Doug. He says to Phil, he's like, Phil, you must have a monster hand here. And then Phil goes, well, I can have sets. I can have 10-10 with the blockers. And the second Phil said I could have sets, that to me screamed he has the nuts. He has the straight, right? Because it's almost like he's saying like, hey, I can have worse. And he's implying that a set is worse than what he has, which would only mean he can have a straight, right? So I think that Phil might have given off a little bit of a vibe here with his dialogue that really actually hurt him in the end, right? And so, long story short, as you guys know, Doug ends up making the fold here. He folds the second nuts face up to Phil Hellmuth in this spot. The greatest fold I have maybe seen in poker history. So, let's talk about this. People have folded second nuts before. It makes more sense in some spots than others. This one was wild. I was thinking in my head, I was like, I don't see how he could fold here. I mean, Phil can definitely have 8-8, 9-9, Jack-Jack. All of those make sense. Maybe an ace-10 of spades would also be reasonable too. But Phil's the type that wouldn't do that with ace-10 of spades. I think he would just c-bet with ace-10 of spades. I don't think he would check and then jam here. So I truly just think it's those sets. I also think he might even be betting those sets on the flop, c-betting, because it's such a wet board, and Board over there, no pun intended, is really tilted, right? And probably going to call with a lot. So I'm not sure he would check the sets there, right? And if we don't think he's checking the sets, then it changes everything. Now he just has to have almost this, right? A point that Doug makes also right before he makes this monster laydown, he goes, there is a chance I am dead here, which he is correct. But then on top of that, he goes, if I'm wrong, then you have an immense amount of equity against his hand. So like he's gonna have a set of eights, set of nines, set of jacks, or like a king ten of spades, ace ten of spades. Those are the only hands that Hellmuth would ever consider shoving here outside of queen ten. In any of those hands are going to have somewhere around 30% of equity against Doug, right? So Doug ends up folding here. And it makes a ton of sense. It is very player dependent and it's very situationally dependent, right? Um, I think the fact that Doug unblocks the 10 of spades too means that, Hellmuth could have the ace 10 of spades, king 10 of spades, but it's unlikely, like I said. And, the sets maybe too, but also somewhat unlikely. So I think this is an incredibly savvy fold. It's insane. I thought when I saw the screenshot at first, there's no way this would make sense. But after watching it, knowing the opponent, knowing his propensities with those other 5 hands that he might be capable of having here, and then figuring in how much equity those hands would have versus the times when he's just dead, when he's wrong. You know what, folks? I think we might have just seen the greatest fold in poker history. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Write in the comments. Tell me what you think. If this is the best fold you've seen, if you've seen better, link me to better. I love looking through these hands. Sometimes I get like lost in that rabbit hole on YouTube poker hands. So let me know what you guys think. I thought this was a pretty awesome hand. Love watching Doug. Huge fan of him. Hellmuth is just so ridiculous. Maybe I'll save my story for when I met him and played against him in person for a later video. But yeah, definitely really cool hand. One of the greatest folds of all time. Doug Polk, you're the man. This was awesome. Post your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Look forward to hearing from you guys. Again, check out our videos on the Elite Rounders YouTube channel. We will be doing a video every Thursday and Tuesday morning on the Poker Go new episodes of Poker After Dark and High Stakes Poker. So definitely check those out every Monday and Wednesday evening on Poker Go, and then check out our recap videos on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm looking forward to next week just to see Hellmuth steaming after realizing that he won basically 10 big blinds with the stone nuts against the second nuts. Pretty wild. Again, Doug Polk, we salute you, sir. You are a hero. Awesome hand. Best of luck this week, guys. See y'all next week. Take care.